Hello and welcome back to my channel. This video is about principles of bookkeeping controls, and today we're going to practice answering some exam questions about using the journal. Now let's go to our example. Number 1, payroll transactions of ABC Limited for the month are recorded below. Letter A, complete the journal entries below by entering the correct nominal code and amount in either the debit or credit column for each line. Before we proceed in answering the question, let me just mention that I have discussed payroll transactions in my previous video, so if you want to check it out, I have put the link in the description down below. In that video, I explained 2 ways on how payroll is being processed, using wages and salaries control account and not using wages and salaries control account. In the exam, it is indicated if the payroll is recorded using wages and salaries control account. In this example, it is not indicated, so we won't use the wages and salaries control account. Now let's proceed in answering the question. We have to enter the journal entries needed in recording the payroll. Let's start in debit. Remember, the transactions we record in debit are the payroll expenses. The payroll expenses usually consist of 3 items: the gross wages, employer NIC, and employer pension. In our example, we don't have the pension, so we only have 2. So let's enter them. First is the gross wages and second is the employer's NIC. Then let's enter the amounts. Next, let's move on to credit. The transactions we enter in credit are the payroll liabilities. Usually, they are liabilities to HMRC, to pension provider, and to the employees. As I've said earlier, we don't have pension in this example, so we only have the liabilities to HMRC and to employees. The liabilities to HMRC are sometimes in one account or separate accounts, and we could find that out once we check the pick list and paid attention to the number of remaining boxes, because these are what the exam requires us to fill in. We can see that PAYE and National Insurance are 2 separate accounts, but they are both HMRC liabilities, so we have to enter them separately. And then the liabilities to employees, which is sometimes called wages payable, but in here it's employees' net wages. We can now enter the amounts. The PAYE is this one. Next is the National Insurance or NIC. We have to pay the employer's NIC and employees' NIC to HMRC, so we will put the total of these 2. And the last one is the net wages. Remember, the net wages is the gross wages minus employees' NIC, employees' pension, and PAYE. Again, we don't have pension in this example, so we will deduct 2, which are employees' NIC and PAYE. Once we're done answering all the details, make sure that the total of the debit is equal to credit. Next, let's move on to the second question. Number 2, an invoice amounting to 564 including VAT at 20% has been outstanding for 6 months, and ABC Limited wants to write the amount off as irrecoverable debt. Letter A, complete the journal entries below to record the irrecoverable debt write-off in the general ledger. Let's analyze the scenario. ABC Limited issued an invoice 6 months ago for a sale amounting to 564, including VAT. That invoice is still not paid until now, and ABC Limited wants to write it off as irrecoverable debt. The three accounts in General Ledger where we should record the irrecoverable debt are RLCA, VAT, and irrecoverable debt expense account. So let's enter them here in the account. Next is to find out the amount and enter them to either debit or credit. First is RLCA. RLCA is an asset and it increases in debit when we have sales. But this time we are writing off a sales invoice that we have issued 6 months ago, so our receivable will decrease and we should record in credit. The amount that we should enter should be the gross amount. It says here an invoice amounting to 564 including VAT, so it means 564 is the gross amount. Next, let's analyze the irrecoverable debt expense first. The irrecoverable debt expense is an expense account, so this should be recorded in debit, and the amount should be the net amount. So from the gross amount, 564, let's divide it into 120% or 1.2, and we got 470. And the last one is VAT. The VAT goes with the net, which is in debit. So let's calculate the amount from the gross amount, 564. Let's divide it by 6, and we got 94. So let's enter this amount in debit. And don't forget to double check the totals of debit should be equal to credit. Next, let's move on. Prior to this journal, the balance carried down of receivables ledger control account is 4,597 in credit. Letter B, after the journals are processed, what will be the revised balance carried down on the RLCA? Let's analyze this by creating an RLCA account. Let's imagine this is our blank paper in the exam. Then let's put the balance carried down, 4,597 in credit. Then let's enter the totals below the balance carried down. We don't have any details, so we will just leave it blank. Then at the opposite of the balance carried down is where we will enter the balance brought down just below the totals. Then let's enter the journals that we have just processed, which is 564 in credit. Then let's get the revised balance carried down by inserting the difference of the two totals to the side that has the lower total, which is credit. Then let's calculate the difference. And we got 4,033, and this is our revised balance carried down. Don't forget to always double check that the debit is equal to credit. And that's it for today's video. I hope you find it useful. If you want to watch more videos like this, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.